It's the pedal-powered talk show. Sponsored by Keen Footwear, with help from Stephen Smith Teamaker and Netcase Helmets.
But like the factory jobs were the good jobs in my town, so.
Well, I'm here with the author of Habibi and many other graphic novels that I love, Blankets, Voyage, Craig Thompson. Thanks for coming on the Pedal Power Talk Show.
Thank you, Boaz.
Coming to you live, from the Keen Shoe Factory here in Swan Island. So you're from Wisconsin, and you grew up in sort of fundamentalist Christian family, but somehow you were able to sneak comic books in the house.
Everything was kind of censored in the household, all the media, so we only watched the most like milquetoast television programs, like Full House.
Oh, well, that's actually pretty good.
Of course, the movies, my parents would watch movies or fast forward through parts, but comics, because they're just like a kid's medium, were below the censorship radar. They were just assumed that they were like children's books, basically.
Yeah.
So it was really the medium where my brother and I accessed the most edgy entertainment. Also, we were farm kids, so we were working out in the ginseng farms, and initially we were paid $1 an hour, cash, which translated to 1 comic book an hour. That's how we thought of labor.
Put in a bunch of hours over summer, that's a lot of comics.
Exactly. And a lot of pesticides.
Yeah. Did we cross over water to get here? Is it really an island, or maybe they filled it in?
That's a great question, and I can't answer it.
Is there anybody here who can't answer
I'm terrible at geography, so.
You know, you wrote Blankets, which is sort of this autobiographical memoir about sort of falling in love and sort of falling out of love with Christianity. And when you sent that to your parents, that was sort of how they learned that you weren't really sort of into the Christianity thing anymore.
Yeah, that was my vehicle. That was my coming out letter. And I don't know if I would recommend that. But I came from a very stoic, sort of non-conversational Midwest family.
Right.
Where you don't really sit around the dinner table and have a conversation about your feelings.
And so what was that first phone call like, from mom and dad afterwards?
It was pretty minimal. It was stoic, like all the other conversations. So after talking for a while on the phone, I was like, did you get the book? I sent it to you like 2 months ago, or no, 2 weeks ago. And they're like, yep, we got the book. I'm like, oh, what do you think of it? And they're like, wow, that was really something that the kids were mean to you at church camp. We never knew that. That was about the extent of the conversation. Until like a few months later, I was back home for, I think for my brother's wedding, and I had a 6-hour road trip with my parents from Minneapolis to Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Trapped in a car alone with my parents, and then we really dug into it. That's totally their style, to wait till you're like alone and vulnerable.
You're in a cage with them on wheels.
Yeah.
And then they bring it
But now here it is like 7 years later, and they seem pretty cool with the book.
Right.
I think they've really acclimated to it.
And how did it go over with Habibi? Did you send them advanced copies also?
Habibi was the opposite. Habibi went down really smooth. That was a surprise. They liked it. And they are fundamentalist Christians, but the first thing they said they appreciated was the sense of connections between Islam and Christianity.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like, you spend so much time on each of your books that sort of the next one is sort of like, okay, I got to do something different.
Exactly.
Last time was sort of this personal memoir, and here this is sort of epic, clearly huge. It sort of takes place in this pseudo-fictionalized world on the other side of the globe. What was your first image or like idea, that sort of popped into your head relating to this?
I mean, the first image was those 2 characters.
Yeah.
Before I knew what kind of book I wanted to tell, what sort of themes were going to be woven into it, I guess I knew I wanted to do a story with child slaves, as random as that might be. And I didn't know if that was going to be a completely fantastical take on it.
Right.
Because it was something that was sort of emerging in a sort of dreamlike, sort of subconscious way, or if it was going to be based on research and reality, since, slavery is as more prominent now than ever before in the history of civilization. So.
Yeah. Initially, you thought this was going to be, a 2-year process. You sort of get it done pretty quickly. And at what point did you realize, like, oh, wow, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was?
That's a great question. Probably at the 2-year mark. I finished the first draft within a year's time. That included all the research and brainstorming and whatnot. And then I hated it. Like it felt flat, lifeless, the ending especially. So I sort of got caught in this labyrinth of revising that draft for another year. And at that point I was at the 2-year mark and I still hadn't started drawing the book. But I resolved to just stop spinning circles and writing and just dive into drawing.
And my nephews actually had a question for you.
Oh, good.
Here they are. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
Hi, Craig. We know we can't read Habibi. It's full of adult situations. But we heard that you're working on a graphic novel that we can read. What is it about? And can you fit in a character that's a ninja squirrel?
What was that last part?
Can you fit in a character that's a ninja squirrel?
A ninja squirrel. Is that something I should know about?
No, I think just a squirrel that's a ninja.
Ninja squirrel?
Ninja squirrel.
Oh, I probably could fit a ninja squirrel in there for the sake of your nephews. See, I'm working on 3 books right now, but the book for kids is kind of dominating because it's the most fun. It's sort of the biggest break.
Yeah.
I can say that it's all ages, so it'll be appropriate for them. It involves spaceships.
Sweet.
And it's sort of a examination of energy crisis, but in a very whimsical take on it.
Cool.
So appropriate for the pedal-powered talk show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know
maybe there'll be a pedal-powered spaceship in there.
Oh my goodness! If
Ninja
there
squirrel.
was, I would like.
We'll man it.
Yeah, I would be pretty thrilled. Everybody here is pretty happy.
All right,
about
Ninja
that.
squirrel. Yep, you heard the scoop here.
Yeah, only on the pedal-powered talk show.
Ugh, that's the worst thing I could have drawn.
Is it? You can
I don't know.
redraw. We can cut it out.
It'd be like a vampire logger.
Oh, you can redraw.
Really?
It's yeah, totally. Because yeah.
Okay.
The game is we have sort of different prompts. We have a person or a thing. I'll get some of our supplies out. We have a location, we have an activity, and the challenge is, can you integrate them all? There we go. Can you integrate them all into a drawing? If you do it successfully, you've got a pedal-powered prize pack, including some Keen socks and shoes of your choice. We've got some Stephen Smith Teamaker tea and a nutcase helmet.
Whoa! All right.
Yeah, I'd say stakes are pretty high.
Person, thing. Rabbit, kangaroo. This is location. Rose Festival Parade. And activity. Have you been in the Rose Festival Parade?
You know, I actually never went. I've seen it on TV.
Okay. Discovering a hidden treasure at the Rose Festival Parade.